This is my favorite controller I've ever used, so let's get into it. So the controller that we are looking at today is the Gulikit KingKong 3 Max. I've been using this controller for about 6 months now, so I have a really good idea of what it's going to bring for you. There's some great things, there's some not so great things, but a really cool little bonus here that I want to show to you guys right off the hop. With this controller, you can buy different thumbsticks for it, so you can have like a small, medium, large. But what I figured out today is that my control freak that I used to use with my PS4 and PS5 controllers, it fits on here perfectly. And my goodness, I freaking love it. So that's just a random small thing, but nonetheless positive. So for those of you that are new to this controller, it is a fantastic budget pro controller. In terms of what it works with though, it's a little bit limited. It's going to work with PC, Switch, and Android. When you're using on PC, you can use it with the little adapter that comes with it, which unlocks a 1000 hertz polling rate. So basically kind of like the best connection that you can have between controller and your computer. The input latency is basically not there. So that's really amazing. Or you can play with it just through normal Bluetooth or through a wired connection. Then like I said, you can also be using it with a Nintendo Switch, which is pretty sweet. So like I said, this is a budget controller. So it retails actually for about 100 Canadian dollars, and the US equivalent I think is less than 80. So when you compare this to your typical Xbox controller, you're really getting great value, because if we take a peek on the back side here, we have access to 4 different paddles with a combination of the long ones, and we have 2 of these short little clicky ones. They're really easy to take on and off. Just pull back away from it, or put it into the slot, push it down, clicks right into place. So we have 4 paddles that work excellently. And then we also have Hall effect joysticks. So the really cool thing, this is my favorite part of the controller, is the Hall effect joysticks. They just offer such a good feel compared to your typical analogs, and they're never going to go bad on you. I could have this controller for 100 years. Basically, there's magnets within the analog. It's not going to wear down like every other controller you've ever used before, which is an absolute game changer for myself. Another great positive with this controller is that there are trigger stops. So if you're somebody playing a competitive shooter, you'll see that I have full range of motion here. But if I come back and I slide this over with the trigger stop there, it's just a quick click, basically turns it into a button itself. So if you're looking for that competitive edge, it's going to offer it. In terms of the overall feel of the controller, you're basically getting a Xbox Series X controller, but the thing that I really love here, and some people might not as much as I do, this controller is exceptionally light. Your normal Xbox controller is quite light. This is going to be even lighter than it. But if you have used something like an Xbox Series 2 Elite controller, which I have used in the past, it is very heavy, and personally I'm not a fan of that. I really enjoy the lightweight nature of this controller. And the other thing that's a great bonus is all of the buttons here. You can probably hear me click them a little bit, but they're all exceptionally quiet. So if you're somebody that's playing in your bedroom at night and you don't want to wake somebody up with your video games, this controller is really helpful in that way. I know that with my normal Xbox controller, every button click is exceptionally loud. With this controller, not the case. There are 2 downsides to this controller though that I want to share with you guys. One of them is the D-pad. Personally, I don't play a lot of fighting games or anything like that, but if I'm somebody that is looking to buy this controller and those are the types of games that I play, and you're often using a D-pad, I wouldn't suggest getting this controller. It's a very mushy feeling D-pad. It's not very clicky, and I just feel like the inputs aren't overly consistent when it comes to the D-pad. So if you are somebody that plays those types of games, I definitely would not recommend this controller. And then the other thing that's a bit of a concern is the durability. So this is actually my second controller. I had the other one replaced. Unfortunately, it was still within the warranty window. I ordered it through Amazon. I had no issues getting it back. But basically, the issue that I had previously is with the 2 back buttons. I had mapped these to loot and jump on Apex Legends. And so these 2 got lots of use. And eventually, when I would click this button in, if I put it really close there, you can see that it's just 2 squares beside one another. What would happen is when I pushed in the top button, it would kind of push downwards and it would get stuck behind the other one. So then when I would go to click the button repetitively, because I'm looting a bin, right? Square, getting all the stuff that's within the bin. I wouldn't be able to loot properly because the button press would get stuck. And when I'd continue to click it, it's not resetting. So that was a big issue for me. On this second controller, it started to happen again. So basically for me on this controller, it was happening on the right side here. So I'm no longer using this part here. That's why I have it empty. And I've just moved it downwards to the bottom paddle. Realistically, if I have 3 of the 4 back paddles, I'm okay with that. I know that a lot of people only use 2 back paddles. So if you're somebody like that, it's not really going to be an issue, hopefully. But if you're trying to get the most buttons that you can possibly get on your controller and you're using all 4 of them, this could be an issue that you run into. I'm 2 for 2 on it. But realistically, if you're somebody that's just looking for a good controller with nice analogs that aren't going to go to waste on you, you don't even need the bumpers. It's such a good controller. So those are my thoughts. I know that it's a little bit all over the place, but I really do love this controller. I think that it's fantastic value, especially when you look at the alternatives costing upwards of 250 Canadian dollars in comparison to the 100 that you're getting this for. It's just not even really close. I really wish that there was a brand deal between them and Xbox or them and PlayStation, where you could use this with those consoles, because it's so far beyond the controllers that they offer, which is probably why they don't have it, because they would just totally outsell their own controllers. But if you guys have any questions about the controller, be sure to let me know down in the comments. If you've enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like, maybe think about subscribing so you can get other tech reviews and different tutorials and things that we post here on the channel. But that's about all I got for you. So see you next time. Peace.